What if your business could create a holiday that customers look forward to every year? Today, explore how small businesses and local brands can invent their own unique holidays to boost engagement, sales, and community loyalty. We dive into the real examples like Three Floyds Brewing's legendary Dark Lord Day, a cult favorite event that draws thousands and creates massive buzz. Learn how to develop your own local holiday, attract crowds, and turn a simple idea into an annual celebration that puts your business on the map. I'm Jed TV and WJOB Radio. I'm the media guy. He is the marketing guru at Purdue Northwest, Matt Hansen. Matt, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Let's go.
Jump in.
Yeah, I do a lot of these. So he handed me the outline before the show, and I'm like, man, I'm trying to think of the one business that has created a local holiday that has just really kind of affected the rest of their business. Certainly Three Floyds Brewing, which is right around the corner. We're in Hammond, Indiana. Right around the corner is the Three Floyds Brewing. And every time I go to Wisconsin and I'm University of Wisconsin, I sit down at the bar. I go, hey, man, what kind of new craft, what do you guys recommend? Every time they go, oh, man, Three Floyds Brewing has this, Three Floyd Brewing has that. I go, dude, I live a couple blocks from there. I don't need that, all right? Is there anything else you got? But Three Floyds is known around the country. Describe Dark Lord Day. Have you ever gone?
I have gone once, and it is an experience beyond an experience. People come from not just different states, but they're coming from across the world just to come to this event. And it's interesting to me because, I went and we had a ticket, and they give you these tickets to basically stand in line to go get your bottles of Dark Lord. And it's a great beer, an absolute great beer. Very dark, really, really strong beer. But it's funny to me because, people will wait in line for hours to get this beer, and they come from all over, and then they trade them. So they're trading different beers at the event. There's music, there's food. The one year I went, it had rained a little bit, so there was mud, and people just don't care. I mean, they just absolutely don't care. It is truly, if you could take the old idea of Woodstock and put it into a beer fest, that's what it is. And it's just such an amazing experience. And it's literally just a brewery down the street that has created this event where people come every single year. And you can go out there and you can see people are trading this beer. They're putting it out there on forums, and they bring beer from all over to trade with. It is just an insane event. And that's why, I wanted to bring this up today is they're just a brewery. I mean, they're a brewery that has taken off, but they're just a brewery that's created an event, and everyone looks forward to it every single year.
This is the Mastering Local Marketing podcast, and if I did prepare, I would have cut up. I one time got a media pass, and I rode my bike over there. It's right by my house. Mm-hmm. And I just went up and down the line and interviewed people that were there. And just, hey, how are you? Come over here. Tell us where you're from. California was one of them. Massachusetts, Minnesota for some reason. Maybe they drink a lot of craft beer up there. They were not from Indiana, none of them that I interviewed. Didn't know any of them. Typically, I'm the local media guy here. Didn't know anybody. But it was I was like you, and this was 10 years ago. And I was like, man, what is, this is a phenomenon that has just started to take off. Now it's just national. They get national news coverage and that kind of stuff. But it was a very simple idea that just started. Let's talk about another one. Trying to promote the businesses in Whiting along 119th Street, Whiting, Indiana.
Yeah.
And Tom Dabberton, who actually hosts the show here on Wednesday mornings, and another guy had an idea. Well, why don't we do something that celebrates our Polish heritage of Whiting, Indiana? Whiting, Indiana's borders Chicago up in the very northwestern tip of Indiana. Actually, I think it's like one block over from Chicago, but it is a lot of ethnic people and a lot of Polish people. So they came up with this thing. Why don't we just have a pierogi fest parade? And they just went down the main business place with a bunch of tricycles and stuff the first time. Wasn't a big deal. Next year it got bigger. Next year it got bigger. Right now it's been voted by Fox News as one of the best festivals in America. You can't really go there and expect to just not battle crowds.
Oh yeah.
It highlights the downtown Whiting and Robertsdale of Hammond businesses, but it just started out as a very simple idea.
Right.
And they've tried a lot of things that have not worked.
Sure.
But it kind of shows you if you just try enough things that maybe something's going to stick.
Well, I think that one built community, right? With all the Polish Americans that we have in that area, you got to realize that you found what they're known for and you've built it in. And quite honestly, I mean, Pierogi Fest is, I always joke that I've known all the Mr. Pierogis through the years, and everybody loves the parade. I mean, you start to see all of the actors and everything, and everybody and again, this is a local event that we're talking about, but everyone that goes to the Pierogi Fest. It's like the one staple throughout the year that you need to go and do. And, I've taken my kids and we've had a good time. And a lot of my friends will walk in the parade, and it's the one thing they want to make sure they do every single year. So, again, you've got something that's called the Pierogi Festival, but it was started by the town, but that could have clearly been started by a food company and been some kind of food company's pierogi fest, right? So I think, it's interesting when we look at these different things, how they grow through the years. It takes time. I get it, right? Like Dark Lord Day wasn't a success the first year. The pierogi fest, as you said, wasn't a success the first year. But if you continue to do it over and over again, through time, you'll build that community, and the community will rally behind you and start to really build it up. And your name is associated with something that everybody looks forward to every single year.
Look on the national level. By the way, all right, let's keep it here still. We don't have a special event. We do media days for each TV season that's coming up, and that's becoming more and more popular, and I kind of like that. But maybe there needs to be a JED TV Sports Network day or some sort of a discount on advertising or some sort of a giveaway of swag or something like that. But if you look on the national level, I'm pretty sure in your top 5, if not your top, of creating a holiday or a local holiday day has to be on Amazon with what they've done.
Yes, Prime Day, right? So they create Prime Day, which Prime Day seems to happen more often than just one day, right?
Yeah.
But they've created a day which is just discounts, and it is everywhere, and the news picks it up. And some of my best friends will send me. They're like, "Hey, check this out," because I actually don't have Prime, but they will send me things like, "Hey, do you want this? This is a great deal. I know this is kind of your space." But like, can you think? As a small business, can you think of developing some kind of event on that scale? I mean, yeah, I get it that Amazon is this huge company, but you don't have to be on a national level, right? We talk about Pierogi Fest, we talk about Dark Lord Day. Like, those have become worldwide events. People come in from all over the place for those. What can you create? You talk about the sports network, right? So could you do I know National Day of Signing, right, where they're going to school. You could do that live, right, where they announce that on air. You could do schedule release day, something along those lines. Like, there's all kinds of different things that you could do on a local level, but you could do a highlight of the top 100 players of that season and literally do interviews with them and share their stats and give them the press that they need. I mean, these are all events that you guys could create on a local level that your audience would buy into, right? You're giving them the spotlight that they are looking for. They're going to buy in. Mom and dad are going to buy in. Aunts and uncle are going to buy in. Grandma and grandpa, and it goes on. So there's a million different things that you can do with this, but what it all comes down to is creating a community aspect of people that all have similar values, similar interests, and creating something that they look forward to doing every single year.
How do you count down to that?
Basically, you just use social, right? So it's a ton of content. It's 30 days out, it's 15 days out, it's 7 days out, those types of things. I mean, you and I have talked a lot about football, the NFL. We're in football season, right? We've got, my crew, we've got our fantasy football draft next week. I'm sending them out the countdown. I'm like, hey, all these things are happening, of course, because I'm the commissioner of the league. But, that's an event for my guys. From a football standpoint, there are things going on, right? The Bears, we talk about the Bears and we talk about the Colts and all of these football teams, they're doing a variety of things to get people hyped for the upcoming season. The Bears open up on Monday Night Football against the Vikings. Do you get excited over that? I'm kind of excited. It's a Monday night game.
0-1?
0-1 maybe. But yeah,
0-1.
Yeah, we can argue that all day long. But that's what I'm saying. Like, figure out what people are interested in, what gets them passionate, and build an event around it, but make sure that it ties back to your brand, to your company, and that it makes sense, right? That it's not the, the Jed Sports Network knitting event. Like, that makes no sense. It's gotta work with exactly who you are and what you stand for and what that community that you talk to is really passionate about.
Do you do this alone?
No, I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you can. If you're really feeling energetic, you can do it by yourself. But partnerships are always the best way to do that, right? So figure out who out there can benefit from it as well, who wants to partner with you. It could be the town, right? So, maybe the town is always looking for the next great event, and you say, well, we're gonna launch this. How can you help us promote it? I'm working with my son and my daughter belong to a fencing club. So, I'm working with Bob over at the fencing club, and, we talk about different things. He's like, how do we get more people to our events? And I said, well, have you worked with the towns? Have you worked with the schools? Have you made any contact there? So call the town. They send out every single month, they send out a water bill that has something in there that says all the events that are going on. He said, okay, great. There are Facebook groups that are out there. Work with the moderators of those groups to promote content through that, right? So there's all these different ways that you can push it out there through partnerships. You can do these countdowns. They can jump on board with you. They can become media sponsors that are providing the awareness, but they're not providing any dollars towards it, right? They're just pushing the message out there. And I think that's a really interesting way to partner with people. Figure out how they can push the message out there even further. And, then you're not dealing with dollars and cents.
All right, so you are the digital marketing guru. So I'll just throw out a couple of segments and give us an idea off the top of your head. Local workout place.
So, it's funny. For years, I've always wanted to do an event, like world record event. And I've always said, like, I wanted to do it at the university. Just never got around to it. I've never been privy to the information that needs to happen. But I work with a couple different gyms, and could you do something like if you're talking about fitness, could you do a squats competition, or could you do it something much bigger, right? Could you get the largest tug of war in history? What would that take, right? I have no idea what it's going to take. You're going to need a rope, you're going to need some space, right? Because if you're talking world record, it's got to be a lot of people. But is that 1,000 people? Is that 2,000 people? Is it 500 people? I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if there's a category for that. But you could create that and then start to generate the press behind it and start to just get out there on local TV, local radio, push it through social networks and say, we're looking for participants. We want to do this. Everyone will get their name on this. I think, if we were to do something at the university, local tug-of-war sponsored by, Joe's Gym, and we're going to break the world record, I guarantee you those students would be all over that.
We're on the campus of Purdue Northwest, and somehow over the years have built this like the most beautiful parking lot in the Midwest with all this dunescaping and so forth. That would be a perfect
It'd be
place
perfect.
to put it out there. And all the students would come out of the dorms. There's dorms now here, and they're building another one, so it's taking up some of the parking space. But that's not a bad idea. As a matter of fact, using that space would be there's got to be something that we could do on that space.
Well, even better, right? We have one main large competitor here in Northwest Indiana for universities. Maybe you put one university against the other, and that's the challenge, right?
He won't even mention.
I won't even mention them. No, I won't.
This is a black and gold Purdue-based system. We don't talk about the other guys unless we have to.
Yeah.
All right. We are right down the street here, just a couple blocks south. They've got, I think, 2 antique malls. What would you do?
Yeah, so this reminds me. Years ago, I hid I'm a college professor, so I hid an A on campus, right? And I gave them a bunch of different clues and all of this. And it was a social media class that I was teaching, and I was giving them clues online, and they had to figure out where I had hid this A. And I think I made the library staff very angry by doing this because I didn't warn them. And at one point, there were about 5 or 6 students running through the library trying to find this book. But I hid the A in the book that we were reading at the time and put it into, back into the library because that's, libraries had books back then. But the idea with a local antique place or whatever, if you ever go into an antique store, they'll always say oh, make sure to check out this antique place and this. They share knowledge. They tell each other go check out the other one. So could you do almost like a scavenger hunt in an antique system, right? So if there's 5 different antique stores, or even if you're not an antique store and you're just talking about getting everyone in the town to work together, could you do a scavenger hunt where you have to go and take a picture of each one of these things? And the first person to get all the pictures brings it back to a centralized location, wins some prizes and all that. That gets the traffic into each one of these stores. And then people know you're there, again, generating awareness. Hopefully they stick around and shop a little bit. But if they're in a real hurry, I get it. But could you do something like that? Or maybe it's like a discounted coupon of some sort that they get when they complete all of it. Great, right? But everybody is working together to do something fun at that point. And that's an event that everyone can get excited about. We, back in Crown Point back in the day, I don't know what they do today, but we used to have I think it was Art Thursdays, and you would have artists that would set up their art in each one of the stores, and they'd have a little 10 by whatever booth, and they'd set up their art, and people would come out of the woodwork that night. They'd go out to dinner, they'd go look at all the art, they'd go to all the shops, and there was an uptick in sales just from that. So, it doesn't have to be a pierogi fest, a Dark Lord Day, and an Amazon Prime Day. It can be something relatively small, but people can look forward to it. Another example right now, you see the commercials out there for the Minnesota s'mores night that they have, right? And how Hershey donated 40,000 bars. Again, it's a localized event. Hershey's said, well, let's capitalize on this. Let's make sure that we're the chocolate bar for that. So, again, could you do that if you have a local chocolate company? Could you create a night like that? Sure, of course you can. It doesn't have to be 40,000 chocolate bars, but you could create something every single year. I think National Night Out is this week, and there's all kinds of different things.
It's tonight, right?
Is it tonight?
Or did it already happen? Yeah.
I don't know.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what? I think I forgot to go.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. So, but that's what I'm saying. There's all of these examples out there, and all it takes is one thing for you to lock on. Just make sure that it's relevant to you and that it builds community.
He's Matt Hansen. I'm Jed, the Jed TV Sports Network, and this is the Mastering Local Marketing Podcast. Thank you again, Matt, for showing us the way. And until next time, we will see you later.